There's an armor we learn to wear. From the time we're little boys, we're told, man up, don't cry, walk it off, handle it. We're trained to and expected to wear that armor. But that armor, if you never take it off, can start to rust from the inside out. Then it doesn't protect you anymore. It actually suffocates. And we confuse silence for strength. We think talking makes us weak, when the truth is silence makes us sick. And that silence turns into isolation, and isolation is where pain multiplies. Welcome to the Shattered Mindset Podcast, wisdom from life's turning points and defining moments. I'm excited to be here with you today. Look, I recently heard that another man had taken his own life. So today's conversation is different. It's heavy. It's necessary. Because lately, far too many men, friends, brothers, fathers, even people who seem to have it all together are quietly slipping away, And see, most men don't want to stop living. They just want to stop hurting. Okay. So I want to just talk about a few things. And listen, the pain that's hiding behind the smile, behind the job title, behind the I'm good is claiming lives every single day. There's an armor we learn to wear. From the time we're little boys, we're told, man up, don't cry, walk it off, handle it. We're trained to and expected to wear that armor. But that armor, if you never take it off, can start to rust from the inside out. Then it doesn't protect you anymore. It actually suffocates. And we confuse silence for strength. We think talking makes us weak, when the truth is silence makes us sick. And that silence turns into isolation, and isolation is where pain multiplies. Let's look at some stories we don't talk about. Let me make this human, with real faces and real lives. I think back myself, there was my neighbor, and I lived in an apartment complex. We were barely into our 20s, a young football player. A few doors down from me, he took his own life after a breakup, not because life had no value, but because the pain felt permanent and overwhelming. A heartbroken, a future lost, and a hallway that felt very different after that situation. Then there was one of my coworkers' son, where a mother came to work after losing her son to suicide. The shock of that loss made her wonder if living was even possible without him. For her, grief can echo like that, turning one tragedy into two or more. There's the soldier. He carried memories most of us never see. He survived the deployment, but not the war inside. For some men, the struggle isn't what happened out there, it's how it moved into the living room and refused to leave. There's the police officer. He felt he failed his duty because he couldn't save everyone. He wore the badge by day and the blame by night. That combination of responsibility and powerlessness can hollow a person out. Hey, think about the comedian. When he showed up, the room laughed. His pain didn't laugh, though. When the show ended, the spotlight shut off and the shadows got loud in his ear. How about the singer? He sang love songs that helped the rest of us connect or love or heal, but never learned how to sing to his own pain out loud. There's the husband under pressure, bills piling up, business slipping, smiles at dinner, dread in the shower. The weight of being the rock turns to cement around his ankles. How about the pastor? He made a mistake, an indiscretion. instead of turning toward help like he had helped so many others so many times through so much, shame told him he'd ruined everything. Sometimes our public role becomes a prison when we're most in need of grace. Look, these are stories that are different, but the root feels familiar: unspoken pain, shame, and isolation. What are the numbers saying about this reality that we're talking about? Across America, men make up 4 out of every 5 suicides. 4 out of 5. White men still account for most of those deaths, but the group seeing the fastest rise is black men, especially young and middle aged brothers. Look, 10 years ago, suicide in the black community was considered rare. Now it's climbing faster than any other group. Part of it is the stigma, part of it is the myth that faith alone should fix what therapy can help heal. Part of it is just not seeing enough faces that look like ours saying, I got help and I'm still here. We don't always have safe spaces or examples to remind us that getting help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to live. Some men have brothers who've walked with them. I mean, look, some guys have had brothers who've walked with them since kindergarten or early in life and through life. Man, look, that's a blessing. But what about the man who's never had that? The guy who moved a lot or kept his head down, chasing goals or lost touch or just didn't make those kind of connections. If that's you, listen, you are not broken because you don't have lifelong friends. You can build connections. You can build them later in life. It's not too late to grow your circle. You can start today. Listen, even David, yeah, the warrior king David, once said, oh, that I had wings like a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. He wasn't glorifying death, he was admitting despair. That version isn't about giving up. It's about wanting peace when pain feels endless. And that's something every man has felt at some point. The difference is David said it out loud. He voiced it to God instead of hiding it. That's where relief begins, naming it. Now, every pain doesn't end life, but maybe it ends living. Not every man thinking about giving up wants to die. Some are just tired of feeling dead while still alive. That's depression. Not always the dramatic kind. Sometimes it's the slow fade. The man who used to dream big, but now just drifts through his days. The one who laughs less, loves less, and maybe sleeps more. He stops showing up emotionally, even if he's still clocking in physically. He's not planning an ending, he's lost its beginning. It's not the end of life, it's the end of existence within life when purpose leaks out one day at a time. Look, and this is where so many men live: quiet, functioning, but empty, alive on paper, invisible in spirit. That's a danger zone, too, because when hopelessness mixes with exhaustion, it becomes a slow suicide of the soul. What about fathers and sons? All right. Yeah, I can relate to that on both sides. We're great at teaching our sons to throw a ball, change a tire, bait a hook, stand tall, be rugged, be tough, but not enough about how to speak to the storm inside. Because how do you tell your son, hey, express yourself more, son? And then say, look, stop whining so much. Okay. Hey, what about that? Of course, it's hard to teach what you were never taught, but it's doable. And to their credit, there are a lot of men who do. If you need to, start small. Say, talk to me, son. Tell me what you felt, not just what you did. Look, tell them crying isn't weak. It's how pressure leaves the body, guy. Tell them courage means being truthful about what's happening inside. Talk to your sons. Look, we're not raising softer men. We're raising healthier, stronger, longer lasting men. We're raising whole men. Some might think that men are dying in the war to be men. Okay. Sometimes it feels that way if being a man means never failing, never fearing, never asking for help. Then, yes, some of us are dying on the battlefield of that definition, if that's our definition. But masculinity itself isn't the problem. Counterfeit masculinity is. Being set is rigid, formative, breakable. Being authentic is grounded, open, and resilient. Listen, authentic men ask for backup. They check on each other. They debrief after the heart falls. That's not surrender, it's strategy. And for our everyday fighters, the ones out there on the front lines, to every soldier, every officer, every firefighter, every first responder, hey, thank you. You've seen what most people can't even imagine and certainly can't bear. Repeated trauma, sleep loss, moral injury, it stacks. You're not weak for feeling it. You are human, and you've learned to protect others so well that you sometimes forget to protect yourself. Now, trauma doesn't wear a uniform, but it does leave scars. And healing doesn't dishonor your service, it honors your survival. Real strength is asking for tools and community that keep you in the fight and bring you home whole. There are many places to talk, to let it out. Men's groups, barbershops, circles, masterminds, small faith groups. These spaces are saving lives. And yes, even podcasts are opening doors. I've heard men say, I couldn't say it to a person yet, but I could listen. I could message the host. I could start. If listening here helps you begin, begin. Then bring it into a conversation with someone who knows your name. But also know that therapy is not weakness. Yeah, right. Let's talk plainly about that. Therapy isn't for people who can't handle life, it's for people who refuse to let pain handle them. It's a gym for your inner world. You train your body without shame, train your mind the same way without shame. Therapy gives you tools, it gives you language, it gives you relief. Look, and a good therapist gives you language for what you're feeling, tools let, just to interrupt those spirals, and a plan to climb out of it. You deserve help, period. If this podcast is your starting place, let it be that. Then take it off. Just take the earbuds off and let's just step into real life. Find a brother, find a counselor, find a circle because healing doesn't happen in hiding. So, how do we as men help another man without making it weird or feeling like we're stepping on his pride? That's important. Look, maybe try this. Do it shoulder to shoulder. Talk during a drive, a game, or a workout. Men open up more when it's not a face off. Ask once and ask again later. How are you? Really? Then follow up a few days later. Consistency builds safety. Hey, check on your brother. Listen more than you fix. He might not need answers, just space to breathe. Share a bit of your own struggle. Vulnerability is contagious. Keep it private though. Trust keeps the door open. All right. And that's important. Masculinity isn't about standing alone, though. It's about standing together. When it matters most, that's the key. If you're hurting right now, if you're listening and thinking, that's me. Hey, look, I see you. If you're in that quiet place where you're thinking, I just want the pain to stop. Look, I hear you. You are not alone. But look, you're not broken. You are not invisible. And you are not beyond help. Look, you can text or call 988. It's free, confidential, 24/7. Or if you're a veteran, just dial 988 and then press 1 or text 838-255. There is someone waiting to listen, even if words are hard. Just say, I'm not okay and I need help. That sentence can open a door. Here are 5 things you can do this week to know you're not alone. Tell one truth to one person, a friend, a counselor, a pastor, a hotline volunteer. One sentence, I'm struggling more than I'm showing. Next, schedule one professional step. Book a therapy consult. Maybe it's telehealth if you prefer. If money's tight, ask for an organization called Sliding Scale Therapy or use your company's employee assistance program, EAP. Join one circle, a men's group, veterans meetup, recovery group, a small faith group, or an online peer group with real facilitations. Next, reduce one accelerant. If alcohol or endless scrolling is numbing you, cut it in half this week and replace it with a walk or a call. Then rest your body. 20 to 30 minutes of movement plus a real bedtime. Look, sleep is medicine for a stormed out brain. Now, a word for partners and loved ones. I need you to learn to invite conversation without interrogating. Try, I love you. I'm here. Do you want me to listen or help problem solve? If you hear thoughts of self harm, stay with him and help him to connect to 988 or some local help. And if you're on the other side, be that safe place for another man. You might be the only open door he sees. We can't fix what we won't face, but once we face it, we can fix it together. This isn't about softening men. It's about saving men. We're human before we're heroes. And courage often sounds like, I need help. Men don't want to stop living. They want to stop hurting. Look, I know this episode's been kind of heavy, but let's end where light gets in. So many men have come back from the edge, men who thought it was over, now mentoring others, the fathers who went to therapy themselves so their sons wouldn't have to fight the same silent wars, the brothers who reconnected with each other after years of pride. This is what happens when men decide to live differently, to live honestly. Let's make it safe and normal to say so, to do so. Look, if you or someone you know is struggling, call a friend. Call or text 988 in the US. You matter. You're not invisible here. Remember that from now and from now on. Well, until the next time, keep evolving, keep adapting, and keep reaching for those higher horizons. Call a brother. I'll see you the next time on the Shattered Mindset podcast. Take care. Take charge. God bless.